There's a lot of attention on Twitter during the election because of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York Post.
Yeah, we have that too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter. I mean, basically the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant. So our protocol is different from Twitter's. What Twitter did is they said you can't share this at all. We didn't do that. What we do is we have, if something is reported to us as potentially misinformation, important misinformation, we also have this third-party fact-checking program because we don't want to be deciding what's true and false. And for I think it was 5 or 7 days when it was basically being determined whether it was false, the distribution on Facebook was decreased, but people were still allowed to share it. So you could still share it, you could still consume it.
So when you say the distribution is decreased,
it got shared.
How does that work?
It basically, the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less. So fewer people saw it than would have otherwise. So it definitely.
By what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful. But I mean, basically, a lot of people were still able to share it. We got a lot of complaints that was the case. Obviously this is a hyper-political issue, so depending on what side of the political spectrum, you either think we didn't censor it enough or censored it way too much. But we weren't sort of as black and white about it as Twitter. We just kind of thought, hey, look, if the FBI, which I still view as a legitimate institution in this country, it's like very professional law enforcement, if they come to us and tell us that we need to be on guard about something, then I want to take that seriously.
Did they specifically say you need to be on guard about that story?
No, I don't remember if it was that specifically, but it basically fit the pattern.
When something like that turns out to be real, is there regret?
Well, shortly before the last presidential election, the New York Post did what journalists are supposed to do. They dug up news. They came up with the contents of Hunter Biden's personal laptop, and boy, was there a lot on there. Not just the famous pictures of Hunter Biden putting M&Ms on his private parts, but also extensive evidence of the Biden family's long-term overseas influence peddling operation. How do they live in those big houses? Because they're getting paid off by foreign governments in exchange for favors, the Ukrainian government, among others. So we took a look at those claims and quickly confirmed that the laptop was authentic. And as part of that reporting process, we interviewed Tony Bobulinski. He was mentioned on the laptop numerous times. He worked with Hunter Biden. But in a twist that will haunt us for the rest of our lives, that laptop was used as a pretext to impose a vast censorship regime on the United States of America. Big tech censored the New York Post on the basis that it was Russian disinformation. Joe Biden did the same. On the debate stage, citing 50 former intelligence officials, all of them liars, Biden again called the whole laptop story Russian disinformation.
We are in a situation where we have foreign countries trying to interfere in the outcome of our election. His own national security advisor told him that what is happening with his buddy, I will. His buddy, Rudy Giuliani, he's being used as a Russian pawn. He's being fed information that is Russian, that is not true.
Foreign interference in our elections. Of course, the irony is the laptop showed that foreign companies and governments had been paying the Biden family in exchange for changing U.S. policy toward those countries, selling out our nation for cash. The Ukrainians most famously. But the rest of the media dutifully echoed Joe Biden's lie. Watch.
Disinformation that he knows to be fabricated and supplied by a foreign intelligence service. And despite the warning, he's still doing it.
You have said this entire thing is so obviously a Russian plot.
It's sort of a crazy quilt at this point, which has all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. That said, it wasn't for lack of trying.
Rudy basically functioning as a Russian asset by pushing Russian disinformation.
CNN reported on Friday that U.S. authorities are seeing if those emails we just talked about are connected to an ongoing Russian disinformation effort.
pretty amazing looking back at that. So a lot of the people you just heard as cable news dingbats. They've never read a book in their lives. They have no idea what's going on. They just read the script, whatever. But a couple of the people in that montage are supposedly serious people who held positions of real authority. One of them, McFaul, was the U.S. ambassador to Russia. Another one was a high FBI executive. And yet they all dutifully repeated the same lie. Well, things have changed. Biden is now president, so the New York Times can admit what we all knew all along. The laptop is totally real. It's not Russia disinformation. According to the New York Times, quote, the Biden family's emails appear to have come from a laptop abandoned by Mr. Biden in a Delaware repair shop and were, quote, authenticated by people familiar with them and with the investigation. So this is a massive, massive win for the people, I guess, who were censored.